All right, I'd like to call tonight's committee of the whole meeting to order for November 20th, 2023. I'd like to recognize this evening that we are on Treaty 5 territory, traditional territory of the MCN Cree Nation and the homeland of the Métis, and that we are all treaty people. I'd also like to let you know this evening that Mayor Snook is traveling to Winnipeg and she is a guest tomorrow at the Premier's throne speech, and that we have regrets this evening from Councillor Lundmark. In terms of the agenda, I will ask for, City Manager.
Yeah, request an amendment to the agenda to remove items 4.1 and 6.2. So just need a motion to do that.
Okay, can I get a motion from someone?
Yeah.
Councillor Patrick, Councillor Colburn seconding that. All those in favor? It's carried. So I will now look to get an approval of the agenda as amended. Councillor Patrick, seconded by Councillor Oberdorfer. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll go to number 5, which is community comments and feedback. If there's anybody from the community this evening that would like to come forward with any comments, feedback, do you have anybody that sent in or anybody online?
No.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, we're going to move along to reports. 6.1 tonight is our RCMP report.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight. I'll present to you the October policing report. So starting with our resources, we are presently, or as of October 31st, we were down 4 hard vacancies all around the constable positions. I don't really know how that's going to go here over the next few months. We are getting some cadets in, we are losing some people, so we're going to be wading through vacancies, I think, at least over the next 6 months. Coming and going as they are. So we're doing everything we can to bring more members in. We do have a couple of senior members coming in from down south. We have lots of recruits coming in, as you know, but we get what we get right now. So we're doing the best we can with what we have, and hopefully this situation improves before summer when our calls increase. So for crime stats, our calls presently this year are up about 7.9% from last year. We're seeing those increases mostly in low-level theft or mostly shoplifting, as well as an increase in public disorder and intoxication calls downtown. That's also leading to an increase in our prisoner count this year, which is up 27.7% from last year. And contributing to that as well is likely the warmer weather that we're experiencing this year. So we're seeing a higher prisoner count at this time of the year than compared to last year's. Some of the notable files that we took this year, October 16th, we responded to a call, a male in possession of a firearm and ammunition at a business here in Selkirk, or pardon me, in Thompson on Selkirk Avenue. Those males were attempting to board a bus and they were seen with some bags that were about to be searched, and during that search, the employees found a loaded magazine, and they also viewed a handgun in possession of one of the males. Those males fled that scene. Our officers actually were on the way the next day or later that day. We're on the way to Winnipeg for training and noted a vehicle that was matching the description, and they forwarded that down to our traffic services unit, which picked that vehicle up in the area of Woodlands. Those suspects were arrested. They were in possession of a large sum of cash as well as drugs, and remanded into custody for drug trafficking. So they were drug trafficking in the Thompson area. On October 20th, we received a report at the Thompson General Hospital of a 44-year-old man that had entered the hospital and uttered threats towards those that were seated in the waiting room. He had actually used his phone to take photos of everyone and then told them that he was going to shoot them or that he was going to come back with a gun. By the time we arrived at the hospital, he had already left. However, we did track him down to his home where he was arrested. He did not have a gun in his possession or in his home. He was charged for uttering threats, and he was released from custody with conditions. Our community policing unit was busy throughout the month of October. I won't go through every single line there, but again, they're doing so much in the community of Thompson, both in the schools as well as parts of committees in various parts of the city. And I'll point out as well that our police community relations unit right now is staffed, or was staffed, by 2 members. We had Constable Rob Cleveland in there, as well as Sandy Divert. So Sandy Divert is finished now. Her last official day of the detachment is December 15th. And so she's on holidays right now, bringing up some vacation time until her last day until she retires. So you won't see Sandy anymore working at the RCP detachment, which is a loss for sure. She was quite active in the community and represented us proudly. So I'm sorry to see her go, but she's done her time. I think she's finishing up with about 25 years of service, so she's calling retirement. I think she's doing some teaching here locally in the local schools, so that's her plan anyways. Moving to our existing priorities, our first initiative was to run a joint RCP and PCSO initiative to address the downtown social disorders. We were intending on doing monthly blitzes with the CSOs. We haven't been able to meet up with the CSOs, obviously for obvious reasons. However, we did run a blitz in the month of October, during which we issued a total of 30 violation tickets, totaling around $8,700 in fines. And those were all issued in the area of Walmart and Safeway. The second initiative was to establish a crime suppression unit. No updates on that. The third was to engage the provincial liquor inspector to work together on some joint initiatives to target our liquor sales venues in Thompson. We've had some troubles getting a hold of them and reaching out, but we're continuing to do so, and I expect that we'll have no troubles meeting these targets before the end of the year. Depending any questions, certainly that's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council? No, seeing none. I have a comment on the initiative to the crime suppression unit. Isn't something that's off the table. We're moving into our budget season. And now with the new provincial government, we've just actually as a council started working on our lobby efforts and going through the mandate letters from the premier, including the ones to the Minister of Justice. So we're still in those discussions and looking for funding partners also to help along with that. So that's not something that's not on our table still.
So very good to be here.
All right, anything else for council, city manager?
Just something for council to consider as part of the ministerial mandate letters. There's a discussion, I believe, for the minister in charge of mental health to create 100 new positions. That would be mental health specialists that would work along the side of police. I know Inspector Worrell had brought this idea to me from the detachment earlier. So I believe that's somewhere that the city could target, going to the ministers and saying we have plans for a crime suppression unit. Let's partner that crime suppression unit with some of these workers with mental health care backgrounds. There might be some beneficial overlap there for council in the province to consider.
And so I can add to that a little bit. So I've had a few meetings with Lorraine LaRoche, the executive director for Northern Alberta Regional Authority. And I did make a recommendation that we try and pilot a project out here to pair health professionals with our CP officers to address the downtown social disorder. So she was open to that idea, and I did provide her a business case from BC that I was involved in that had the same type of project, which was successful in that area. So.
Great, good update. Anything else? Good, thank you. We're gonna move on to 6.3 since we covered 6.2 and it's the Thompson Fire and Emergency Report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. First off, we'll jump right into the station report for last month. Pardon me. So basically, TFS has hired 2 more new recruits this past month. So currently, TFS still has two vacancies remaining, anticipating having those positions filled early in 2024. And at the same token, we'll have a member going off here shortly later this month for paternity, which also opens up a term position for consideration. Ladder 180, the latest update on our aerial unit that went down to Carmen for repairs. It was noted that it was scheduled to return sometime this week. I just spoke with our contractor, and that truck is scheduled to return to Thompson on Wednesday or Thursday this week. So that's some good news. And of course, just in time for the Christmas parade, which is scheduled for November 25th. And again, I can't thank Chief Christian Smith and the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service for the loan of this aerial unit, allowing staff to repair, just strengthening that partnership between agencies and whatnot. And also on that note, Valet has expressed strong interest in purchasing the aerial unit before we send it back to Thompson. So they're in discussions with their committees, with Valet and the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service with respect to that area. Both career and auxiliary members partook in Remembrance Day ceremonies that was held this year at GB Arena on November 11th, so good turnout. calls continue to rise. As of November first, we're 458 calls ahead of this time last year, which is kind of hard to believe, but in 2022, TFS responded to 6,633 EMS calls, and in 2023, we had 7,091, which is an approximate 6.5% increase in calls. Also, we began targeting or tracking our calls for service to specifically 504 Princeton, under the premise that we've been getting a lot of discussions at the table with respect to the individuals that are actually calling for EMS services and call for services, which are not the patients themselves. It seems stemming from the staff at the Will Variety Center. So as of since October, we've had 81 responses specifically to the Will Variety Center, which equates to 2.1 calls per day. Moving on into our all right, I apologize for the young lady who submitted this report for your viewing. She inadvertently sent the entire report for the entire year, so it's 15 pages. So my apologies on behalf of Danielle. So I'll just get you guys to jump to page 13, which is the last month's stats. So on the fire side, we had for the month of October, we had 50 calls. With 2 general alarms. One was to 56 Waterloo, the other one was to 77 Thompson Drive earlier in the month of October. Year to date, we had 433 this year, which is slightly down over this time last year, 456 calls. Again, another busy month for TFES for the month of October. We had 749 calls for the month. Year to date, obviously stated, was 7109 compared to 6633 with a approximate increase of 7%. On the inspection side, prevention, we had 3 inspections, no re-inspections. Year to date was 35, 1 re-inspection, and fines still outstanding, summing just over $45,000. Year to date, significantly increased over last year, and that's primarily due to the to those due diligence reports that comes across the director's desk with respect to Lyle. Which is encouraging to see that ownerships are changing hands in our community. Again, fire incidents, we had one new in the month of October. Year to date was 23, slightly down over the last year, 2022 of 36. And that's the reports for TFES. And the last but not least on the agenda is a good report from Staff Sergeant Lisa Wochuk from the Detachment Commander of Leaf Rapids and South Indian. It was a compliment. It was a call that our members attended to, and on behalf of her family, I won't read it, but she just want to take this opportunity to express their sincerest gratitude for our work, our service, humanity, and care that was well received to her father while in care of our medics. So that was a bit of a good report from Sergeant Lisa Roach. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from council on the report? Well, thanks for clarifying the 13th page in the whole year, because I was like, what are they trying to get out of this? Thanks for that. And good email from Lisa Wochuk. I mean, her family is one of the original Thompsonites and Mr. Wochuk, so it's always good to hear good news stories. So that's good. Oh, is he? Yeah, it's a long time ago. Absolutely. So the other thing I want to add under the public safety is, because we're having such crazy warm weather, are we worried about ice and the snowmobilers and the river and people walking on the edge there? Like, are we gonna communicate that? I know we usually do. I'm looking at maybe Ian over there.
Yeah, at some point in time, once we start seeing the river's edge start to collect ice and whatnot, and I agree, it's been exceptionally warmer this time of year and whatnot. But at that time, we'll be releasing the PSA through here to get that out of the city.
Okay, perfect. And good reminder to the citizens, once it looks like it's gonna be ice, it's not gonna be. This is crazy good. Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you for the reports. We're gonna go to 6.4 under our controlled entities. We have report 6.4.1 from the Thompson Public Library with their financials are attached, and then their report. Who would like to speak to that? Anthony?
Yeah, so we've received the report as well as their financials. Nothing really to speak to it. It's for information of council. If there's any questions, we can send those off to the library and get the answers for you, or we can request the library to come and speak with council.
Is there any comments on the report? So just a reminder, oh, sorry, go ahead, Councilor Brooker.
Deputy Mayor. I did just have a question about the building and maintenance section, because this one has been on their report for, well, it says since October 2022. The last couple of reports that we got about the roof leaking, so I'm just curious if we know what's going on with that or why it's still outstanding again.
I'd like to defer to Lyle if he has any update on it.
Yeah, the relevant update on that is getting the carpenters in there to do the work, Counselor. We try and get them lined up and then something else comes along. So it's a drywall patch on the ceiling in one of the rooms in the basement. It's a small, medium room.
Okay, so it's not like an ongoing leak that. is
No,
happening.
no, it's a drywall over
Thank
there
you.
in the ceiling.
Any other comments? So it's good that we're getting these reports from our controlled entities, because remember, council, as we move into budget now, we'll be caught up on the financials before they come and present to us on what their asks are gonna be now already for the next budget cycle. So hearing none on that, we're gonna go to 6.4.2 and it's Memorial Discovery Center report. Same kind of idea. Is that to you, Anthony?
Yeah, same thing. So there's in receipt of this report for information of council. If there's any questions, we can get those off to the board and either have them come and appear before you or send the responses to your questions back.
Any comments or questions? I have a question for CFO. So all of their funding on the city's end has been given to them for what they needed for the year?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're up to date on that for the city's end?
Yeah, and same with the library.
Okay, good. Okay, any other comments? Okay, moving on, we're gonna go to, and I got this back on track here. 6.5, we have a committee report from the city manager. 6.5.1, you're up.
Yep, so this is just an update to council on some of the activities that we undertook at the Manitoba Planners Conference. It's the first time that we've attended this, and we were asked to attend by the province of Manitoba and make a presentation about planning activities in the city of Thompson. So myself and Director Safran went to the meeting. We were there as well with Councillor Fitzpatrick in his role as the Northern District Rep of AMM. I made a presentation on behalf of the city, looking at our economic development plans and planning pathway from the inception of the city through the TEDWIG process and culminating in the Pacifico development. Generated quite a lot of interest. It seemed like people were very interested in what's going on in Thompson. Made a whole number of connections after that. There was a lot of excitement about the Cree signage when I presented that in the room. That project is hopefully to launch by next summer. It's about a year behind at the moment. But yeah, just letting council know what we're up to on your behalf.
Any comments on this? Questions? So did you also want to touch on the homelessness conference also, or is that?
That'll come as a separate one.
That'll be a separate one? Right, so I can comment on this a little bit, and I know Councillor Fitzpatrick was in attendance at this also on behalf of AMM. That this whole presentation, this was Anthony that developed this when you look at it and read it, so it's a lot of time and effort. And his promoting the city of Thompson and what's being done and what has been done. I think we thank him for this. It takes a lot of time to do PowerPoints and go away, and everybody thinks, well, Anthony's away again, but he's actually working on stuff like this, and it takes a lot of time out of your day. So we certainly do appreciate it on behalf of Mayor and Council, and definitely makes a difference. We're gonna go to number 7 is Public Works. We're gonna go to the never-ending snow clearing policy report. I'd like to speak to this first if I could. There is a memo attached from the Director of Public Works. I was the chair of the meeting on January 16, 2023 when we discussed this. I did not get consensus of council to give the direction that was needed after reviewing the minutes, because I thought this was all done and looked after, and I apologize to Councilor Patrick. I should have done the follow-up and done better due diligence to make sure that we were ready to pass the change to a resolution, but we aren't. So we have to discuss this tonight so we can move this forward to a resolution at the next council meeting to adopt it with the new map, with the new streets, and with the the green line and stuff. So the other part to it was Counselor, I went through my notes because I was kind of upset that I missed this. Counselor McIver had brought up about snow clearing and moving the snow and how we look at doing that. And that direction on that at that evening was for it to be a part of our budget discussions, Counselor McIver. So didn't lose sight of that, but that's actual budget discussion, not a policy discussion. So if we do want to make another policy change, we can do that after we do our budget discussion on how we move snow and how much more that would cost for overtime or staffing or the times that we do it. So I just wanted to be clear on that and own it, that this is back again, and part of it is because of me missing the consensus on that meeting. I'll go to City Manager.
Yep, just to note that I believe the department has made the corrections to the map. So the previous map was missing certain roads. Other things were not listed there, so those are all the corrections that have been made. Now this is council's opportunity to say if you want to make a change or not, and we can come to a consensus tonight. If a change is to come forth, we'll bring it to the next meeting. You then adopt it by resolution.
I'm gonna ask Councilor Fitzpatrick to make sure that we have this correct, since I dropped the ball on this at the last meeting that when I chaired this. So we're fine with the map as is now?
Absolutely, map looks good to me.
Okay. Any other? Councilor Chan, go ahead.
I look at the map, I got to look at the map because hard to see the name of the street and all the down there. Can you make it clear?
To make the map clear?
Yeah, clear so we can read the street name and all of it.
Okay, I can ask administration how we can handle that.
On this spot, I won't be able to with the quality map that we have, though we could circulate maps out.
Yeah.
By email, we could send map by,
So
do that.
better.
We could circulate that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, then if you have any comments on the map, please quickly reply so that this can be ready for a resolution. But before we do that, I have to ask for a consensus on moving this forward for a resolution to change the policy in the map.
Sorry, just for clarity, has there been a change or are we sticking with what's there?
The only change on the current policy is the updated map with
Right.
difference with the streets that were missing.
Yeah.
Showing actually on the map.
No, I'm not talking, I'm not talking about I can't read it. Look at the map. I can read the words I'm talking about.
Can't read
I
the-
think there's two different discussions
Okay.
happening, Deputy Mayor. So one, we are gonna send a higher quality map so that members of council can see that. But I guess my question is, there are no changes to this map except for the streets that are missing. So I believe Councilor Fitzpatrick had concerns that there was other streets that should be color coded. So am I hearing that it's correct now?
That's correct. For me.
Okay,
Correct, you're good with it?
The map as it sits, yes, it's good, as far as I'm concerned. But moving forward, I'd like to make a change
To the map?
to the color coded.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
Yeah. Yes, I'd like to make.
Okay, go ahead.
So on the map where you come off Arctic Drive and then you turn right onto Camel, which goes down into the new subdivision. I would like to have this section, as green because it's priority two. It's no different in Wacusco where, when we get heavy snow, this loads up really quick and it's a hard time to get up and down the hill for everybody. Cause this does feed us up into the main arteries.
Your only point of access out of that area.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a quick question. Since there's not changes the policy, just the coloring the map, are we still gonna go to the next meeting for approval? Or this just in-house?
no, I think you would because the old policy had an incorrect map, so it has to go for resolution regardless. So if you're making any other changes, now's the time to do it. And that's where we need the consensus on the changes that we're making.
Okay, so Councilor Fitzpatrick has brought forth the green line to continue down Campbell for the access for that new subdivision as a second priority.
Yes.
And that would be the change for this policy right now. Not saying that we can't change policy again, or after budget, we can change policy again, but for right now, I'm looking for a consensus to change the map and the coloring with the green turning right onto the Campbell Road area. Everybody in favor of that? I need a consensus, hands up, if you are. Okay, it's a consensus to change that map with the color code of the green moving forward.
Sorry, there wasn't really much discussion. I just want to see if the department has any concerns or.
Sorry, I can't see you, Neil, so I didn't even think that you're there, sorry.
Stuck at the end.
You are, I cannot see you at all, so go ahead, your stuff will up against tonight, as Councilor Carver would say.
My hair's in the way. No actual concerns, just following the policy. Green is transit, part of school zones and industrial areas. The red is school zones and high traffic areas. So technically, that part of Campbell is not a transit route, not part of the transit route, it's not attached to a school zone. It's not an industrial area, but it's council's wish, whatever council wishes for priority.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Well, we do have school buses travel up and down there as well. Steady.
So if I hear correctly, you have the consensus for
Yep.
making the change?
Yep.
So that'll be brought forth at the next regular meeting of council.
Yep, thank you. All right, we will go to 8.1, which is public safety. We have a letter from Jim McHenry, Quality and Standards Officer, in regards to the application for the 2024 Stretcher Transportation Service License. You'd like to speak to this from administration?
Go to Chief Malloy.
Chief Malloy.
Yeah, so this is, nothing new. We go through this process, with respect to updating policies, procedures, with current, the compliance branch with the province of Manitoba. Last year, we were in the status of a provisional license, due to some, I call it hiccups with shared health. So we made a target this year to have this, between myself and my deputy and shared health, to have this done by the end of the fiscal year. So, with some emails and phone calls and texts and whatnot, we managed to secure the license, the full license for the fiscal year of 2024. So the certificate will be coming mid-December. So this is one of those good reports. So no disruption in service.
Great. Any comments? Seeing none, we'll go to 8.2, which is a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to the Community Safety Officer Extension Agreement.
My memo's not attached, but that's okay. So the community safety officer, operating agreement with the province, provincial government and the RCMP expired March 31st, 2023. The city did meet with representatives from Manitoba and we discussed success of the program we renew. We received verbal notice that we could extend the agreement prior to the expiration date. So the CSO program can continue to work under the agreement as it was set out. So the city has since received an extension agreement. The terms and conditions remain the same as the original. However, the city can still revisit the terms of the agreement prior to 2025, should we wish to review the CSO's regulations and expand the CSO authority. So the agreement extension is for 2 years, ending March 31st, 2025.
Anthony?
So the recommendation, as it's really just a renewal of what's existing, we need to bring it for a resolution at the next regular meeting of council.
Any comments or questions for council? Okay, seeing none, is there a consensus to bring this forward to the next regular meeting of council for a resolution? All those in favor? We have the consensus on that. Thank you. Local legislative 9.1 is a letter from Michelle, do I say that? You there?
Too big?
The Deputy Minister of Families and Statutory Director in regards to new regulations passed under the Accessibility for Manitobans Act. There's a letter attached. And we'll speak to that.
I can speak to that. So this is, in the past, we've had our accessibility plan on our website and available for distribution. The last several years, we have not had it, a newer version on our website. But as you can see, the regulations have changed and they're giving us notice that we will have to all be in compliance by March of next year, I believe. Well, May 1st of 2024. So it'll be ourselves, City of Winnipeg, Brandon, Dauphin, Flin Flon, Morton, Portage, Selkirk, Steinbach, and Winkler. So the administration will have to strike a group to update our accessibility plan, and then we'll have to get that up in front of council for resolution. And then post it to our website. I'll have to do that before May.
Okay. To do this, Councillor Dorfer.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just have a question regarding technology, because the letter speaks to, accessibility around technology. And like some of our old bylaws and stuff like that, that are sort of like in scanned format. Is a part of our plan to make those documents accessible?
It currently isn't, but that's what the whole point of the new plan that we'll have to put together for council is to include those sorts of things. So if that's something that council identifies they'd like us to work on next, that's what we could be doing. I do know that I've made sure that our new technology we purchased has optical character recognition scanning. So that if you have a printed document, we can scan it and then it can be read by machine reading, the readout technology. So we're set up to do it. We just have no policy in place right now to do so, but those are things that council wants, we can include in the plan.
There's no follow-up question. So the requirement is that we have to have it in the plan, but it doesn't have to be accessible by the state, then is that what you're saying?
That's correct. The plan says this is how we're gonna address accessibility issues in our community, whether it's from capital, whether it's from service delivery, whatever it is. And this is our plan moving forward. And it's usually, I believe, a 4-year plan.
With no funding availability attached. Correct.
The province doesn't fund the initiatives.
Any other comments? Just for information, the city of Brandon is working on theirs right now, and if you follow them on social media, their mayor spent a day in a wheelchair to get around the city to see how that works. I'm just saying, since our mayor's not here, maybe it's something that we may want to ever consider. But it's very interesting to see how he started to see the accessibility of their city. All right.
Well, if the mayor doesn't want to do that, I would be their side.
Okay.
I'll step up.
9.2 is a letter, she doesn't know I said that, so let's not bring that up. 9.2 is a letter from Crime Stoppers in regards to an annual funding request that we received from them. Anthony?
This is an annual letter that we receive here in the city of Thompson. The city used to have a very active Crime Stoppers organization. Over the years, that has been less active, but I believe we're still part of the provincial Crime Stoppers. I believe it was back in 2016 or 17. I can't remember the exact year, but council had stopped providing funding towards Crime Stoppers. But anyhow, this is an annual request that comes forth, council's consideration. It's really your decision how you'd like us to proceed with this.
Council, any comments? Council Wong?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I believe there was a reason why we stopped. So can you get back those notes that we had last term or term before, that why we stopped that? I think something to do with the office not here active or something like that.
Yeah, so council, I think it'd be in the minutes. If you want me to bring it back, I can bring it back.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council? I'll comment. I know that in the past I have voted against this, as I would rather us have like make sure it was more local. If we looked at community safety initiatives that were more local, this was more, when we got the letter, it was more funding for their like almost seemed like corporate. I think that was one of the reasons why. But I could look for more information. Anybody else comments? Anthony?
So is that the will come? You want me to bring back the information and we'll revisit this letter in the future?
Okay, so I'm not ever gonna do this again without the consensus of council after I screwed that up last year. So is it a consensus of council to move forward with bringing more information back to us before we decide on this? All those in favor of that? Yes. Got direction on that. 9.3 is the AMM 2023 annual report.
This is provided by administration just for information, recently released by the AMM, so you can see all the lobbying work that's done on their behalf, representing the city and all the other municipalities to the provincial government, as well as up to FCM. So just for information.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Councilor Patrick?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We got an update from the AMM today in regards to
a pre-budget report, and it looks like it, might work in our favor about, recouping some of our policing costs and whatnot. Looks like it might be working in our favor finally. So lobbying has been successful.
Thank you. Any other comments? 9.4 is 2023 AMM resolutions.
Again, this is information for council. So the AMM resolutions will be going forth at the annual general meeting of AMM next week. For the voting, only two members, or one member of council, so Mayor Smook and myself, the city manager, have registered to attend. I believe Tammy said she didn't receive any further interest. And then I believe Deputy Mayor Valentino and Councillor Fitzpatrick will be attending on behalf of AMM as AMM representatives. Any member of council that's registered for the convention can vote on these resolutions. You'll see they're it's the most resolutions I've ever seen for AMM convention. And a lot of them are overlapping. Normally communities cooperate, but this time they haven't. But you'll see that our two resolutions we submitted have been signed on to by a number of large communities. So looks like we'll be getting some good support for our resolutions. And those two were the fair allocation of cost of policing and the Building Sustainable Communities program.
Any comments? So if the two resolutions that the city of Thompson put forth get passed at the floor, then that's what AMM will use as a lobby effort with the government for two of the 50, but of the resolutions that get passed next week. Keep in mind that FCM is in June, first week of June, so I always encourage council, start looking at your calendars. Next November is the AMM convention in Winnipeg, so start planning ahead, because it's really important that we have a presence that whatever we can, understanding life is more important at home and stuff, but
Bring in Judy Brandon again.
Spring in Brandon, FCM in Calgary, and Winnipeg in November. Those are some upcoming dates. Seeing none, we'll go to 9.5, is the 2024, here's another conference, Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada Annual Conference. Anthony.
Yeah, so this is the world's largest mining conference. It's held in Toronto annually. I believe last year there were over 20,000 people in attendance. At these conferences, you'll meet vendors who want to open up businesses to supply the mining industry or the exploration industry. You'll also meet junior companies that want to do exploration in the area, as well as the senior companies. You also have the opportunity to meet with senior officials from Vale, as well as the province of Manitoba, and the federal government, who have regulatory roles or approval roles with mining in our region. Last year, Mayor Smook and I were in attendance. I went for the city, and the mayor went on behalf of the CEDF board that she's on. It went really well. We recommended a number of changes to the province. It looks like they'll be doing that next year. They're going to be holding a larger Manitoba booth, but it's going to be run from an economic development perspective rather than just the geologist mining perspective that we typically run our booths on. So I would recommend one or two members of council attending this, as it is a good place to network and potentially bring new business to Thompson. What we did is we spent a lot of time at the booths. As people would come by and ask questions about the Thompson Nickel Belt or Thompson, we could give them that kind of on the ground information, as well as put them in contact with people that if they might want to come here and get real estate or make partnerships with local vendors or sell their products to local companies. So like I said, we also did have quite extensive access to senior members of government and bureaucracy, the ministers, as well as members of Vale's leadership. So I'm looking tonight if there are people who are interested, because with that many people showing up in Toronto all at once, 20,000 people plus, it's very hard to find hotel rooms and make travel bookings. So even though this says it's in February or March, I would like us to start making plans now. And if there are members of council who are interested, to let me know tonight, or to send by email to Tammy and myself, and we will make bookings on your behalf. If it looks like there's a huge number of people, then we'll bring it back to council to decide who goes. But if there's not too much interest, we will go with whoever self-selects.
Okay, and those dates are March 3rd to March 6th in Toronto. I mean, I know I'm not going to be attending, but CEDF has already committed to, they co-share the cost for Mayor Smook to attend. That day was a commitment from the mining conference, Anthony. And I also think that since we've started our lobby efforts again, that when we go in there at our next, when we go through our lobby list in December, can we look at maybe some federal minister meeting requests and get that in now for March? I mean, most likely it's gonna be a federal election year, so maybe there'll be an opportunity to get some ministry meetings at the federal level for that meeting. So, if you guys wanna attend, everybody wants to attend, or any comments or questions about it right now? Anybody? Anybody knows right now if they wanna go, or can go? No, all
I
right.
think I'm gonna be in Mexico.
Okay, who's going to Mexico, so we won't be there. Okay, well, if you do look at your calendars and have the ability to go, please email so that you can make the necessary travel arrangements. And now I need someone to move to adjourn. Councilor Wong and Councilor Patrick, all those in favor? We are adjourned, thank you.